Hey everyone, welcome to the fifth episode of Put It in Perspective, where we discuss new perspectives and new life experiences. My name is Vignesh, and I'm joined by two lovely co-hosts.
Hello, I'm Sneha.
Hey, I'm Swada.
And we're here to,
Put
It
in perspective. That's great, guys. Also, a disclaimer for the rest of the episode: this is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research on these takes before taking our information. Yes. Today, we're joined by our very lovely guest and our math teacher, Ahmed Badr. Mr. Badr, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Mr. Badr, and I was their calculus teacher, but now they graduated.
Yes. Yes.
yes.
All right. Yeah. Normally, we would ask
Yeah.
what major and like what college you're going to, but that's not very applicable right now. So yeah, we're gonna go straight into the episode.
Yes.
All right. Swara, Sneha, do you guys want to go first for your hot takes?
Sure, I could go first.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Um okay, so my hot take today is that Gen Alpha is a little too hated. Um because I think there's just a lot of talk about how like kids these days, and especially Gen Alpha, like the people born kind of like after 2010, are like addicted to their screens and they can't read and they're supposedly just like failing. But I think we're blaming children for like adapting to a world that we built and like a system that should be fixed, you know? So, yeah, I think just kids are hyper digital these days because tech is everywhere, and like schools assign digital homework and parents like use screens to regulate and like occupy their children because they don't have the time to take care of their children in other ways, and like childcare tends to be pretty expensive. But yeah, I think parents in general are just like overworked and underpaid, and people are like pointing fingers and blaming like the parents and the teachers for creating like a generation that is like so addicted to their devices. But I think like teachers again are not to blame in this situation because they're juggling like massive classes and like different students needs without like having enough resources, if that makes sense. And I don't know, I think criticizing them is just not the way to go. And so yeah, that I'm gonna leave it at that for now.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, first impressions. What do you guys think?
I
Go
think
ahead,
I
Swada.
agree and disagree. Yeah. Uh, uh, yeah. I don't know. I'm like split on this. So I guess what you
Okay.
guys say, I'll see that. And yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I generally agree with what Sneha is saying. There's a lot of circumstantial things that are happening now for kids that are growing up in Generation Alpha. Like the first thing that comes to mind is COVID. Like there are kids in kindergarten that grow up in COVID year, and that has been abysmal for them being able to develop their social skills, their ability to be in an environment and act well and like polite, well mannered. Right. Uh, that has by far been one of the biggest things that have been affected for Gen Alpha based on COVID, and also their ability to learn has also tanked because them being online and the phones. Like there's some statistic I found that reading levels have been the lowest, and math levels have been the lowest in like 20 years, and that's abysmal, and it's really concerning. And I don't think it's the children's fault for what's going on right now.
Mhm.
I agree with both of you. I don't think that they are glued to their phones. Like millennials are the same. You see them everywhere making videos, like whether it's silly or not, but they're
Right.
always on their phones as well. I'm on my phone a lot when I have nothing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Even the older ones, Gen X, they also joined the trend of just be on Facebook and this and that, and it's okay. Like Sneha said, this is the world that we're living right now. We created this technology to use it. Uh, we maybe sometimes abuse it, but at the like we still need to use it. And the
Yeah.
fact that the kids are not learning or not learning as much as they used to,
Mm-hmm.
that's just the fact, like the I feel my personal
Mm-hmm.
opinion, right? It's the parents,
Mm-hmm.
the way that they have been dealing with the children, like the fact that they're not disciplining them right,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not guiding them towards the education more
Mm-hmm.
is affecting. And actually, my hot take will add to this later, like
Okay. Okay.
when we
We're
talk about it.
excited.
Oh, okay.
We're excited.
Okay.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, there was this also another. Okay, I watched a video about like why the kids are getting dumber and stuff like that. So I have like a lot of statistics, but there was this one statistic that really was like baffling to me. It's that when kids try to spend time with their parents, they feel like 50% of the time that they're distracted by their phone. And when parents are spending time with kids and family, they also admit like 58% of the time they feel distracted by their phone. So like even when they're spending time with the family and trying to create emotional connections, it's like even when that's happening, they're not totally there. And I think that can really provide like watered down effects for their like life and development for the child.
Mhm.
Okay. Oh, what
Right.
was I gonna say? Yeah. So, and the interesting thing about it is like no matter like your socioeconomic factors, right, or like your resources, the one thing that like studies have showed that they can bypass all of that and make sure a child has like an equal fighting chance, to be successful and get high income is their connection with their family, like being raised right, like having good relationship with the mother and father that that really sets up a child for success. And it's really sad that that family connection is also in the low right now. So they're disadvantaged in like every way possible, it seems like.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
also.
but go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
No, no, go ahead.
Okay. No, no, I just wanted to bring up another little wrinkle in this is like the education system, which is like a huge topic, but I think like I was reading something about how we're still using like the factory model of education that was created like during the Industrial Revolution to like teach kids how to best like be the best factory workers possible and like produce things most efficiently and like be punctual and everything. And I think those skills are not necessarily the ones that are most adaptive in our current society where like often like I think right now because of the rapidly changing world, like things like creativity and critical thinking and like technology fluency are the most important skills. So, yeah, I think um I don't know. I think when like Gen Alpha people, they struggle to like sit still and focus on like boring worksheets or follow rigid routines. We say that they're failing, but I think the system is more so failing them.
Hmm.
So, as far if you're going to talk about education, I think education is important to go the way it is up to middle school. Uh, because up to middle school, you're just learning the basics of everything. Then think that when you get to high school, you should be studying things that you're interested in,
Hmm.
not everything. So if you're interested in being like a writer or something like that, you should take a more focused language classes than science and math and this and that. If you know the basics already in middle school, up to middle school, you shouldn't need more than that in your life. Although I think that education in itself, it's not just to learn to do something, it's to feed your brain, right? So when you have conversations like the ones that we're having right now, if you didn't have all of that education, you probably wouldn't have the ability to keep going in the conversation unless if you are a very social person who talks to everyone that you meet.
Hmm.
Then you can get the knowledge from them instead of this.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Like, I feel like even if I don't use all my math lessons or all my English lessons and all that, I feel like it has developed up my ability to critically think and provide, some insight in conversations where I otherwise would have nothing to add. Yeah. Would you guys agree, Snake,
And
on this one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
it's also good for building common sense, right? That's
Hmm.
something that I feel like
Yeah.
it's lacking, especially in the US. Uh,
Hmm.
like I've seen a lot of people lack the ability of common sense.
Hmm.
And I don't know if it's like, I don't think people focus on education here as much as other countries. And that's because of the level of comfort that we have here in the US.
Hmm.
Mhm.
That's fair.
That's a fair
That's
point.
fair.
If you need to create a good life, you have to work hard, struggle. But if you already have the good life, I feel like there's no motivation for you to do better or be better.
Right. Hmm. I think it also largely depends on the culture of the people that you're around. If you're like in a public school where education is not really taken seriously, socially there's no pressure to do what you need to do. There's no influence in the people around you of like, hey, I'm heading in a general direction, right? I feel like I'm going somewhere. But like let's say in public school, like you're more focused on what is it, social status and stuff like that, where you want to head in that direction. It really depends on what I'm trying to say is that there's a certain way that school pushes you. It's not just with education, but with how the people around you act and what they want to do. Yeah.
Swada, what do you think?
Oh yeah, okay. Well, I would definitely agree with everything you guys have said so far, and kind of going back to like the original like hot take point of like Gen Alpha is overhated and like the issues with that and stuff. I think a lot of it does also like relate to just parenting styles and the fact that parenting styles now just include technology and like devices as like a matter of a fact. Like it's just kind of like if you're parenting, that has become a part of like the way you parent, the way you raise your child, and so that kind of like contributes a lot to like the effects like we're seeing in children and stuff, like their shorter attention spans and all that. And then also just like I guess going in a bit of a different direction, I feel like part of the hate that Gen Alpha gets is because of like their brain rot, I guess, like to bring up the whole like thing of brain rot and like how they have all this like internet slang and like references that they're all just like so engaged in, and like that's kind of like part of like the hate that was like, oh my gosh, they like watch Skibidi Toilet and stuff, so that like makes them hate worthy. um but I think that's like that isn't like really a fair thing to hate them for, because like in some sense I guess every generation has their own version of brain rot. Like Gen Z, we also like grew up online and stuff, so we have our own versions of brain rot out there. And then for older generations, it's not like maybe they don't have like the same thing, but they still have kind of like versions of like something that like makes them kind of like different, or like something that would make them hate worthy that like other generations might not understand or like. But when it comes to like Gen Alpha and stuff, I guess they can't really avoid it because they're online. It's kind of part of their lifestyles now. So then the fact that they're like engaged in like these online things like Skibbity Toilet, you can't really avoid it. It's not really worth hating on them for, because that's just kind of like the way that this stuff they interact with.
Yes, and what you said is actually true. Every generation is hated by the generation before it because
Yeah, right.
they look at them from their perspective, from the way that they were raised. Like if I were to look at you the way I was raised, I would see it very different, and I might think, oh, they're not good at all. But I don't think that way. But most people would think that way.
Hmm. That's fair. I also
Yeah.
think like
I
when you're talking about, oh, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say like you have to understand what surrounds you now to be able to judge the generation that comes after you. Like, and you guys, two generations from now, you're going to think that those kids are horrible, right? And it's the same thing as music, the way it was and the way it is now. Movies, the way it was, the way it is now. Everything seems like it's degrading or changing rapidly, right? And then you would have to the societies that's going to come up from it is built by it. You see it all around you, so that's what you're going to deal with.
Yeah. I also think for Gen Alpha, a lot of the things that are associated with them, like the brain rot terms and how they generally act, is a way for them to feel like they're in a community. Like if you think about the words that we use right now as Gen Z, like, oh, that's fire. Oh, that's bussin', stuff like that. Stuff like he got some riz, things like that, right? It's like a lot of people in your age say it like that too, right? And it's a way for you to connect with each other without, like explicitly saying, hey, you and I like have some commonalities, right? It's just something that's just universally just agreed upon of, hey, this is how I communicate with the people around me, right? And with my generation, this is how I identify as. That's what I think.
Hmm. Yeah. I think.
Something. Sorry,
Go
did you
ahead.
want to go ahead, Sneha?
Wait. Okay. I was just gonna say, like, I was just gonna agree with everything everyone has been saying, especially about like just there's always been a gap in understanding between generations. Like, I know, like, between like Gen Z and like millennials slash boomers, like a gap has been like Gen Z has been really involved in like the advocacy space, and so like the older generations are viewing it as like a threat to just like civility in society. So, I don't know, they think our generation is like too zealous about a lot of different things. And so I guess this is our version of a gap of understanding towards Gen Alpha. Um, but yeah, that's the main thing.
Okay, I'm gonna like build on because like I was kind of gonna touch on like the same point of like because like what Mr. Batter said, I think that was like a really good point that like how every generation kind of hates the generation that comes after, and I think what it is with Gen Alpha is that for like all of us, we've like been living in the digital age and like we've like also come to like live in a world with technology, but then with us it was kind of more transitionary, but then with Gen Alpha, this is kind of like the first generation where when like as they're like be coming into the world and like growing up and stuff like their lives all of it has like technology. It's not like as much of a transition anymore, so then that's why it's like we're not used to that because like it's just so different from like the world how the world was before, and then now we have this entire generation that's like kind of like dependent on technology and stuff, and like we never had that before in history, so that's why that kind of leads like more into the hate because like it's something we're not used to and we're still like trying to figure it out ourselves.
And there's a thing that I saw before that was like boomers were like money is important. Millennials say where's the money, and Gen Alpha saying what is money? Sorry, Gen Gen X saying what is money, and then Gen Alpha saying do we really need money? So that's the difference between them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, why do you say like Gen X is saying, what's money? Like,
Huh?
like, what's the Gen X part of, I'm having trouble understanding that part of the analogy.
Oh no, this is like the transition for uh, every generation
Uh-huh.
and the relationship with money.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay. I see.
So Gen X boomers had the money
Hmm.
to do like have a house or this or that,
Right.
and they were a little bit comfortable in that sense. Millennials are going everywhere around like trying to find the money, right?
Hmm.
Because it's really hard.
Right.
Gen X is like, where is the money? I don't know. Or what is money? I don't know what that is because they don't have
Hmm.
any right now. You don't have
Right.
any right now, right? So
Uh-huh.
you still have to figure out how to build and go. And
Hmm.
then the Gen Alpha is just like, do we really need it? Just we're just living, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I feel like for Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they've seen their parents, right? Some of their parents like are working dead end jobs, right? They're working all like, and even if they have a lot of money, they don't see them as like very happy people. And like even like consciously or subconsciously, they're asking themselves, yeah, is it worth it to do all of this just to get money in the end? Like, I want to be happy, right? What does that mean? What does it mean to be happy?
Hmm. Like going back to the parents thing, I think like connection with parents, like was mentioned earlier, is a really important thing and it's kind of being lost. So I think we should start like supporting parents more rather than punishing them and like putting the blame on them. So like ideally if we like had the money and the government would be willing to allocate it, then like affordable childcare would be a good thing, and like maybe like paid family leaves or something like that.
I disagree.
Really?
Not with the Affordable Care Act and stuff like that, but like I feel like parents are to blame now, because like I've heard so many stories of teachers like trying to reach out to their parents, right? That their kids are struggling, or your kids is cussing me out and throwing chairs in the classroom, and the parents like, yeah, we don't care. It's your job as a teacher to figure that out, which is first of all not fair to the teachers. Second of all, not fair to the child, and you're not nobody's winning in that situation. The child is not, becoming more like, well, more what mattered, well, like adjusted to society, and the teachers are just going to continue being abused. And if the parents are the ones that are not disciplining them at home and trying to understand the gravity of their mistakes, the children are never going to learn.
Yeah, and so it happened to me. Like there was a kid that was um, not very respectful, right? And when I contacted the parent, they didn't say it's your problem. They said that they know, but they don't know what to do, and they
Mm.
are like that at home too, right? So going back to the same thing, and I said there's no discipline from at home. They don't know how to raise them anymore, I guess,
Yeah.
because millennials feel like they were raised wrong, right? They were beaten, they were this, they were that. Even though the fact is you are who you are today because of everything that happened to you,
Mhm.
of the way that you were raised. If you think that you're a good person now, it's because your parents did that to you, right?
Mhm.
And now you don't want to beat your kids. You don't want to do this. You don't want to have them learn the right way or discipline the right way. And you're just saying, "Oh, what do you want to eat? Eat what you want? This and that." This will make the kid behave the way they are, right?
Yeah.
So it goes back to the raising them, how to raise them.
Hmm.
I'm not saying that everyone is like that. Like there's a lot of people that raise well, right, and can raise well. But when you see the examples and when people follow what others are doing, like online now or in movies or in shows and all of that, is just like making everything difficult for parents.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Would you guys agree that for the most part, it seems like Generation Alpha is being raised more by social media than by their parents?
Yep,
Yeah.
I agree.
And that could be a good thing. That could be a bad thing, right? Because it just depends on the content you're consuming online, right? And like let's say that your parents were like really abusive, they weren't good parents, but the people you're around with, like your friends, like the community you're around with, are like good people and they're good influences on you. You can be a good person, right? And I just think it's a combination of everything. Where like the culture on social media is like super toxic, right? And that blends into like in the classroom is toxic, and the parents aren't doing anything to fix that toxicity back at home, and it just becomes this visceral cycle.
Hmm. Yeah, I do have like some level of sympathy though for like the type of parents that Mr. Batter talked about of like they didn't know what to do, because I think sometimes like criticizing the parents could be like yelling at a plant for not growing without giving it water, you know?
Nice
Like
analogy.
yes, I was trying. But I don't know. I think like some parents they just like don't have the time and like their work hours are crazy. Um so I think there should be a level of sympathy that we give to them.
No, it's there.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you have children, Mr. Batter?
Yes, I have to.
Yes. So like as you're raising them and like in the age of social media, it's like what are you trying, like are there any special things you're trying to do that try to combat what's happening right now?
So they have like limited access to the internet, like
Hmm.
what they can see and what they can do. And
Hmm.
then you have like parental guides that I have installed on my phone to know what they're doing and like what kind of things that they're watching and all that.
Hmm.
So when I see that there's something that shouldn't be uh, happening, I stop it right away. And then you see also the language that they speak with.
Hmm.
So if you feel like there's a change on the in the vocabulary that they're using, then you know that there's something that they're watching that's affecting them. So you have
Mhm.
to go and find it, take it off, address it, and cut it
Mhm.
like right away.
I see.
If you just let it and let them talk the way they're talking, you're not gonna be able to stop it later on. They're not
Mhm.
gonna understand that what they're doing is wrong. And it
Yeah.
just happened actually with my son. Like he was watching a show supposedly for kids, right? And there was like some talking for about cheating and adult stuff like that he shouldn't be uh, watching. And then he
Mhm.
went to my wife and he's asking like, "Is the daddy cheating on you?" So
Oh my gosh.
that's not
Yeah.
something like a kid that's 6 year old should be asking their mom, right?
Mhm.
And then she actually, because she's a good mom, and I respect her for that, she went and uh, figured out where he got that from,
Mhm.
and then found the show that he was talking about and asked me if I can remove it. Unfortunately, it was on Netflix, so I couldn't remove it. But we were able to stop him from going there and watching that show.
I
And
see.
he now understands that there are some things that he should not watch because it's for adults and some things that he can't.
Mhm. Do you think that there's a transition period where like they can like what do you think is a transition period between like having to like keeping to watch these shows that are like meant for children and then like gradually just like watching more mature media? Like what do you think that transition should look like?
The transition would happen when I'm fully able to know that I instilled in them
Hmm.
every value and every moral that I can before they can get exposed to something like
I
that.
see.
You know what I mean? So when
Yeah.
you're watching something, you know that it's wrong before you're even uh like as you're watching it. So you wouldn't have you wouldn't do the same thing and come and ask a question like that
Mhm.
because you already know what's right and what's wrong. So
Right.
once I'm confident that they know the difference between right and wrong, then they can watch everything.
Okay. I see. See. Sneha Swada, do your parents do stuff like that, or how do your parents handle like your media consumption?
I
Uh,
mean, I think they don't really regulate it now because I think they trust the media that I consume or
Hmm.
like how I will absorb it. But like early when I was younger, like when we were watching TV, they would just make us do it like in the living room or something and not like in the confines of like a room or something so they could see what we were watching.
Hmm. I see.
I remember when I was younger, we don't have internet, so it was
Hmm.
just the TV.
Yeah.
And then when we would watch a American movie or something, and when a scene comes, my dad would flip the channel, right?
Yeah.
So I mentally that actually mentally makes you like no, oh, there's something that's about to happen that you're not supposed to see that's wrong or something like that. And then as you get older, you get like you understand why they did that, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they didn't tell me, but I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was younger, I was like when like a bad scene started to pop up, it's going downstairs, right? And like it was late at night. So like you would see the light from the TV, and then they hear me coming downstairs and like going to where the living room is. So like once they start to hear me, they would like start to turn the TV off and like put the blanket up and pretend they were sleeping. Sometimes they'd be like, "Wait, you more tense snoring." It's like, "Mom, you don't have to do that. you don't you don't have to do that."
You're
And
so
then I get
busted.
my water, and then and then one time I was but like even before it was like I was like a few feet like away from leaving. She thought I left, so she like woke up awake and she turned on the TV, and then we locked eye contact, and I just walked away. Yeah,
wow.
That's fun.
yeah. They don't go through that much effort nowadays since I'm 18, but yeah, that used to happen quite a bit. Yeah, yeah. It is interesting though. My parents didn't really regulate my media consumption that much. I just turned out to be lucky and didn't watch like bad videos or like I was kind of aware of what videos I should be influenced by, luckily. But I think nowadays, like that's the way that social media is kind of structured. It can even be hard to like develop that instinct, as a child of like what's good to watch, what's not good to watch. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also,
I
you can
agree with that.
you don't have. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Mr. Batter. I can add on afterwards.
Oh, I was just saying, like, you don't have to make online the whole life of your child. You can also make some changes to that routine, like taking them outside or going somewhere or getting them uh, like toys or something that they're interested in that they can play with
Hmm.
instead of just like watching something. And it's the same thing like with my son. Like he was talking to me recently, and he was saying that he wants to watch something on the tablet or whatever. I was like, well, you have a certain amount of time that you can use it, and then
Mm-hmm.
otherwise you can play with your toys. He was like, well, I love playing with my toys more, but I don't have new ones. Like he just wanted new ones because he doesn't want to keep playing with the stuff that he has.
Right.
So if you can provide for them something alternative, I think it will be more worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think games get a bad rap, but I think it's a lot better than them watching random content on media. Like structure a game that tell a story and have like a moral to that story, and you have to engage with it and try to challenge yourself. Like you die a couple times, you figure out some strategies. I feel like that can not only like it can like engage your brain and stuff. It can also like develop you as a person. And
Mhm.
uh, I think games should be more of a part in a child's life nowadays. Because right
Yeah.
now I feel like it's all just like short media and like
Mm-hmm.
all this slop on like YouTube and Instagram.
Mhm. Problem solving.
Yeah.
Teaches you problem
Um,
solving.
Yes.
Go ahead, Sweater.
I was gonna add, like, I definitely agree with everything you guys said. Honestly, like half of the problem could be solved if like kids just started playing outside more. Like I don't know about you guys, but like a good part of my childhood was like, watching TV, being inside, like on devices and stuff. But so much of it was also just being outside and playing with my friends and stuff. And like it's not like kids don't play outside these days, but it's like definitely less than like previous generations. And I feel like in some ways that plays like a really big part in like a person's childhood and like how they grow up as a person, just like the more time they spend outside of their house, also just like socializing with other kids, other people their age and stuff, and just like having fun in those ways without reliance on like stuff like devices and stuff. It's pretty important. So if we can just push kids to, like go outside, enjoy time with like their friends and stuff, that would help a lot in their development.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you go outside, Swada, nowadays? To
Uh,
play and stuff like that?
well, okay. In my defense, it is well, I can't right now because we live in a desert and it's like 100 degrees. But
Mhm.
beyond that, um, okay, I haven't gone for the last few weeks because I was like ill and stuff. But I did go every day for like a bike ride. I've been trying to like increase my time
Mhm.
outside. So yes, I'm
Yeah.
not one of
That's
those
good.
kids
That's
that's
good.
indoors all day. So I'm trying not to be.
Yeah.
Yes, you can go bowling, you can go hiking, you can go
Bowling.
yeah,
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
play billiards or something.
Yeah. Billiards. Oh,
Pool.
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. And I don't think it's just about like playing outside, just having things to like interact with. Like me and Sneha, like the other week, Friday, we went to like an improv jam. And it was a first time thing for both of us. It was nerve wracking, but it was a new experience, right? And just being able to engage with like a group of people and do something that's new or something that you're passionate about is like just it just feels amazing, right? And I don't think these kids are happy. Like just watching all this media, right? It just I feel like it just this blocks emotion in their brain. And if they want to enjoy something, they should go out there and just try new things. Yeah.
That's nice. Like I went to a couple things that I think would like three things that could be interesting for you. One of them is escape of the room. Like you can go to one of these. It's
Oh
really
yeah,
fun to
escape
go
room.
to. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and they have different ones too. And the other one is like a murder night. So I actually went with strangers somewhere, right? And it was a large table, and there was a murder event, and then you had to figure out who was the killer.
Oh,
And
that's cool.
Ooh.
And there was also like you can do volunteering stuff to pack
Yeah.
food for that's going to different countries and stuff like that. That's also
Yeah. Istea mentioned a soup kitchen. She's been really into soup kitchens lately.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think no, yeah, there was this like whole time in the summer where I thought I would start like a whole community kitchen,
Yeah.
like a restaurant type of situation, like a mobile food business. It
Mobile.
ended up mobile like with Uber Eats,
Oh
but
yes.
it ended up being less feasible than expected. But the idea behind it was just trying to get like out of the room, not behind devices. But nowadays you have to like make a conscious effort to like fill up your schedule with things like that.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I feel like nowadays, like okay, not nowadays. Like my brother was talking about when he visited New York, right? Like when he went outside, there were just people everywhere. Around the street, there was something to do, something you haven't explored. There's parks everywhere, right? And in those type of environments that facilitate conversation, facilitate new experiences, it's a lot easier to go outside. Here in Arizona, things feel so isolated. Like even to walk to the nearest McDonald's, you have to walk like 4 or 5 miles. Everything is like only basically accessible by car, and that is not the best for trying to engage in the community. I think.
Hmm. Me personally, I have a McDonald's like 2 minutes away, and that's not a good thing either. But
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess it's good that McDonald's is 4 or 5 miles away.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Yeah. The problem is,
Maybe you should take up cooking, like learn how to do like good food.
yeah.
Yeah,
The other day I actually meal prepped for the first time. I made like overnight oats. I made fried rice, a burrito. Right. It was
Hmm.
really nice. Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I know. Sawada did some cooking yesterday. She made some fettuccine Alfredo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
How was that like?
It kind of failed, but it wasn't bad. Like I've made better fettuccine before. I was just trying this authentic Italian recipe. Um, but yeah,
Okay. All
But
right.
it
it
doesn't
wasn't it.
matter. Just try.
Yeah. Honestly,
Yeah.
it's the process that
At
makes
least I
it
got to
enjoyable.
try it out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. We kind of strayed
Oh,
from the main topic, guys, but do you guys have any final thoughts on this?
I think we discussed mostly all the angles of this problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We went 360, 2 pi r. Yeah.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yes. Okay. You want to start, Sam? Final thoughts?
Okay.
Also, can you
Yeah.
get closer to your mic? Like,
Okay.
yeah.
I think we're all like we ended up pretty much on the same page in terms of like there's a lot of like flaming of like iPad kids nowadays, but it tends to be more it's a product of like their environment and the systems that we've created, and it's not necessarily their fault. But also there should be more of a conscious effort by like parents to like discipline their children. Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Swada? What do you think?
I think on some level, I still dislike Gen Alpha. I can't help it. But like also I'm very understanding of like why they're like that and how they're like a product of their environment. So I can't entirely blame them for it.
Okay. See. What about you, Mr. Batter?
Same. I don't have any hate for them. I think that any it's everything is personal. Uh, when you deal with a kid, it's you and them, and they people act differently around different people. Like
Mhm.
you don't treat everyone around you the same. Uh, Whoever treats you with respect and is willing to listen to you, you're gonna do the same for them. And I think
Yes.
kids are the same. Like when they see somebody approaching them with that kind of behavior, they are more receptive and they will be listening to you more and they will talk to you more. And
Yes.
I'm fortunate to have you, all of you, and the kids that we have right now at the school. That they like to come talk to me and they like to listen to what I have to say, and I
Mhm.
really appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on to the podcast.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure so far. Yeah, I'm still really excited for your hot take. I'm like brewing in my mind what it's gonna be. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree with what you guys said about we can't really blame Gen Alpha but I still do think it's really concerning the direction that they're headed, and yeah, I'm not entirely optimistic of what the future is gonna look like with them, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah.
That's kind of
Okay.
real.
We are ready to move on, guys, to the next topic. Next hot take.
Yes.
All right. Okay. I guess I'll go next. Okay. I think people should be bald at least once, like in 5 years. Okay. That's my hot take.
Once every 5 years?
Yeah, at least once every 5 years. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go on my spiel, but what are your guys' first impressions?
I dislike this hot take, but
Me too.
What do you think, Richard?
I agree. You have to make some bold moves sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Exactly.
mean, not necessarily every 5 years,
Yeah.
but in general.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go on my spiel. Okay. The reason I think this, I think people care way too much. Okay, about hair. Okay, in today's world. Okay, it's like people like get haircuts like every 3 4 weeks, and they talk about different hairstyle, and they spend so much time doing with their hair. It's like I think it represents everything. It's sort of for me, it's kind of representation of how outward we are and how much care we're putting into like how what other people's like perceive of us, and just having the time once in every 5 years just take that all off and just to experience this new side of yourself where like you aren't completely looking your best, but you still you still get to understand that hey, if you're not feeling your best, that's not the end of the world. You're still you, right? And I think this has some practical benefits as well. Okay, like this can also be a way to stand in solidarity with cancer patients. Okay, first of all. Okay. Second of all, okay, if everybody did this once in 5 years, there'd be so many more ways for people to have hair transplants and stuff like that, and more hair in circulation. Okay. And third of all, I think there could be some interesting fashion trends. Okay. And things like that. And also, what else? Also, I think that what is it? Oh yeah, when you go completely bald, you you actually find things that are like wrong with your head and your scalp health that you wouldn't have realized otherwise. So it just lead to better scalp health, better hair health in general. Yeah.
I personally do it every week or 2 weeks.
I'm trying to be like you, Mr. Badr. I'm not there yet.
I was fortunate it doesn't look bad.
Yeah, it's great. I don't know why Sneha and Swatter are opposed to it personally.
bro, okay. Some people. I think, what about the whole thing of like hair holds memories
What?
and
I have never heard that before. Okay, if hair holds memories, no wonder I forget so much. Okay.
um okay, I get what you're saying because I think sometimes people can become really attached to some parts of their physical appearance, and so making such a drastic change, like continuously in your life, is good. Just in terms of like not being afraid of change. But you can also like um I don't know. I feel like there's other stuff in your life that you can change.
Well,
I guess
that just means that you gotta change your hair, right? If you don't want to change your hair, you gotta change that part, not the stuff that you want to change.
I actually misunderstood when you said your hot take at the beginning. I thought you were saying bold, not bald.
Oh.
Oh.
That's why. But after you spoke about it, I got what you meant. But
Okay.
just wanted to put that out there.
Do you still agree though with the hot take?
I mean, I do like if you want, but it's a personal choice. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like
That's
maybe it actually was scary because I did it on purpose. I still had hair when I did that. Like when I started this, it was getting less, but I still had it. And then the fact that I wanted to remove it, the first time I removed it, it was a little bit scary because I didn't know what it was going to look like, right? It was. And then once I got close and I cut a little bit, that's when I was like forced to do it. And then after I did it, I was like, oh, that looks good. I'm just going to keep it.
No, I don't.
But I want you to imagine doing
Go
it.
to the barber. They cut it shorter than I needed to be. I come out there and I feel like I'm already bald, right? That's why I'm laughing because like it's so scary to cut hair. That's part of the reason I'm saying it. It's like it feels like you're cutting a part of yourself, right, guys?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
That's
for,
why you should do it.
for them, I don't think they should do it.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna make the point. I think me and Sneha have a bit of a different perspective on this. Cause like for girls to go bald, that's like an entirely different thing. At least with like guys and stuff, it's like it's somewhat common hairstyle. Like if guys go bald, no one's gonna bat an eye about that. If as opposed to like if a girl did it and stuff, like it's just kind of like a different thing. And then also, I think it would suck practically if like you've spent all of your life with hair, you've like grown it out to a length, and then you have to shave it all off, go entirely bald, and then you have to wait like another how many years for it to like grow back and stuff. That doesn't sound fun. I'd miss my hair so much, cause like just like
Hey,
all those
Slaughter.
years of growth just for it to like go away.
It's what game to game. Okay, that's all I gotta say. Game's the game.
Oh
For
my
a female to go bald, it's bold.
Yeah, yeah. Bald is bold. That's what I'm saying. Every 5 years, be bold by being bald. Okay. It's it. Can you guys imagine yourself bald? I think it'd look majestic. Okay. You guys
I
don't
can't
agree?
see it. No, I
You
can't
can't
see
see
it.
it. Okay. How about you do a demonstration for us, Neha, next episode?
Me? No, it would be you.
Okay. Okay.
Oh yeah, you should be the one doing it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, give me $500 and I'll do it. Come on, guys. Okay.
We actually like have a wheel that we spin every week with like a thing that we want to change about our lives, and one of them is for Vignesh to shave his head bald. So I know he's actually like probably willing to do it. So
Yeah, it's shave my head bald and shave my beard as well. Yeah.
I wonder what you will look like.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I guess we'll find out next episode. Yeah. Hopefully not.
I can start picturing
Okay.
it again. No. Why do you guys keep putting the image in my
Yeah,
head?
it's
I
like-
don't like this.
It's so funny.
Ah.
They're more terrified of me being bald than I am. So yeah.
It's because I can picture it vividly, and it's scary. I don't like that.
I actually think it's part of your personality.
you're
Yeah.
wrong.
The
Yeah.
long hair. Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
It based on what Sneha says, it shows how long my memory is, right, Sneha? Hair
Right.
holds memories. Yeah. Where'd you hear that from? I've never heard that before.
It was
Never.
It's like
Video
a whole
with the
thing on
person
social
with, like,
media.
really long. Yeah.
Okay, then that's probably why I don't know about it. Okay. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, but what's that supposed to mean though? Hair holds memories.
Hair holds what?
Memories.
Yeah, so are you saying that?
Oh.
Are you saying that Mr. Badr has dementia or something? You're saying hair holds memories? That's so rude.
No, I have hair.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Okay.
Also, my memories transfer to my beard, so.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Never mind.
So yeah,
Of course.
Yeah.
everyone has some sort of memories except people with alopecia, but okay, anyways, but no, it was like in the context of a haircut or something, which
Okay.
I guess like feeds into your point of like people get too emotional about this type of stuff, but I think I don't know, to each their own. Like if you have an emotional connection to your hair, it's fine.
You know what? Maybe not make it mandatory, but like the government gives you some money if you like shave your head shave your head bald every 5 years.
Well, you can sell your hair.
Huh?
You can sell your hair.
I can.
Yeah.
But who's gonna buy it? That's the question. So as long as the government
Well,
guarantees.
people who are interested in having hair.
Okay. All right. Well, Sneha Swatter, if you're ever interested, okay.
They can make wigs out of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
That's true. Yeah. Okay.
I need extensions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, like let's say if it's not bald, but like to make it like really, really short, would you guys feel like it'd be the same thing for you? Or
Mm,
Define really, really short. Like if
like
you're
a
talking about like
like
bob.
a
like
bowl cut or like a
like
pixie cut or
your head, your
something.
neck, you cut everything below your neck.
Shoulder.
Yeah, head and
Yeah.
shoulders like the shampoo. Yeah.
Mm,
Oh. Well, that's like also kind of like already a standard haircut that a lot of girls still get though. So that I don't think it
No, but
would do
like, do you guys feel
much.
like attach your long hair in a way that like cutting it that short would like feel weird?
it would feel weird, but a lot less weird than being bald.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But
Even
I
if you
think
got $500 from the government, or
yes.
yeah, okay, all right.
I don't
Just
know
wanted to
if
make sure.
I've had my
would.
hair that short before. It's not a good look on me, so I'm not going back to
Okay.
that.
All
Yes,
right.
they.
All right. I see. I see. Okay. What would it take for you guys to be bald? Like,
If everyone did it, like if it was like fully normalized.
okay, I see. I see. Sometimes you gotta be the trendsetter, guys. Somebody's gotta start it.
Oh my
Okay, then
god.
the crowd follows. You gotta be the wolf or whatever. Ow.
And I'm not a fan of doing things because everyone is doing it.
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Batter. Okay, be better, guys. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Any final thoughts, guys, before we move on?
No.
No. Okay.
Uh,
All right. I will conclude this again. I guess. Okay. Uh, losing hair can be beneficial in many ways, and I think you should be open to do it. Yeah. All right. Okay. So Anna, you ready for your hot take?
yeah. Okay. So
Okay.
I don't think we're gonna spend much time discussing this, but my hot take is that yawning shouldn't be seen as a sign of boredom. Like if you see someone like yawn in a conversation, don't just assume because it's because they're bored or whatever. Because I think like when people yawn, I don't think I've ever seen anyone like actually yawn because they're bored. Like either you're tired, you're sleepy, or you're yawning because someone else yawned and it's contagious. But like I don't get where the whole thing came. It's like if you're yawning, you're like bored, you're not interested in what the person is like saying or whatever. Like that just doesn't make sense. It shouldn't. If someone yawns, like don't take it personally. Like it's not like they think you should stop talking, like just never speak to them again. Like they're just yawning because they're tired. So that's my hot take.
I don't think I ever assume that because someone is yawning, they're not interested. I think
My
I
dad
just
does. He
think that
does.
they feel that they're sleepy.
Oh.
Your
Yeah.
dad does.
My dad does, yeah. No, there was this whiteboard, right? He was teaching me something about electronics. I just woke up in the morning. It's like, why are you yawning? You want to sleep outside the house or something? Like, oh no, it's okay. It's like I was still yawning. It was pretty bad, yeah. No, but like, okay, to counterpoint, if you're on a roller coaster, would you yawn? Like, would you ever feel like the need to yawn?
Uh, Probably not. But like I feel like in that
Exactly.
moment there's just too much like adrenaline pumping through your body for you to like actually be able to yawn because like you're gonna feel awake, you're gonna feel like in the moment. Like regardless. Because that's just how roller coasters are.
Sure, sure. Let's say that's true, right? When you're doing push-ups or sit-ups, do you guys ever yawn?
I can't say I
But you
have.
can't.
I don't know.
Well, you can't. You can't yawn when you're doing activity.
Yeah. That's the point, right? It's not that you're bored necessarily, but it just means that you're not like engaged and excited with the information.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah.
Interesting.
I don't think anyone should take it personally if
No,
someone.
I don't think so either. But
Yeah.
I don't feel like I feel like it's an indication of something.
Yeah. It's an
Okay.
indication that you
Oh,
need more oxygen
But
at
you need
that
to sleep.
moment.
Yeah.
Okay, let's set realistic goals, okay? All right. Hmm.
Yeah, I
But
won't
like,
take
yeah,
it
no, because
personally.
like there's that there's that notion, I guess, like you see it like in TV sometimes too, where it's like people like exaggeratedly like yawn to like show that they're like bored or like not interested, like a person is saying or whatever. It's like, where did that even come from? Why did people start taking it as a sign of boredom when like if anyone yawns, you're clearly doing it because like you're either tired, you're sleepy, or it's because like you saw someone else do it because like people, it's just contagious like that. But I really don't get where the whole like boredom thing for yawning came from. It makes no sense.
Wait, but I think that is a thing. Like biologically, you just like yawn when you're bored. Like not all the time, but it just happens, you
Ow.
know?
I'm trying to think of a time that I yawned because I was bored. I can't find it.
Yeah, usually I just fall asleep.
Pretty much, yeah.
Hmm. Okay, but I'm just trying to think of like when you're in exciting situations, like let's say you won a competition or like you're driving an F1 car, like you don't yawn then. It's not like let's say you're sleepy while you're riding an F1 car. You're not gonna yawn even if you're sleepy in an F1 car and you're driving it.
So let's say you won a competition for who can stay up the longest.
Okay. You know what, Matter? You guys have brought up a great point, and my whole argument has been dismantled, and I concede. Okay. Great day, guys. Final thoughts. Uh,
Uh, no, but like Ashley, I think we can move on to final thoughts. There's so much here to say,
okay.
unless you
All
guys
right.
have more.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. No, I was just about to yawn. Yeah. So I had nothing more to add.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I see how it is. You're getting
Yeah.
bored, huh? Okay.
No, I'm just really
Don't talk to
sleepy.
me anymore. I see
Yes.
how it is.
Yeah. I can only talk to you when I'm in an F1 car and I can't yawn. Okay. Yeah. That's how it's gonna
Okay.
work.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All
I
right.
see
Do
how
you
it
have any
is.
like final thoughts, Sweta? Like to wrap it up?
Just well, okay, you because like there was also kind of like I thought about it. It's like if you're like falling asleep during a conversation, it's also because like you're bored and stuff. Like also, where is any of this coming from? If you're falling asleep, it's because you're tired. I don't understand like why people could get the idea that it's like because they're bored or whatever. But anyways, the point is yawning should not be associated with boredom in any sort of way. Thank you. Yes, that's all.
Yeah. I think what happened here is that Sweta just wants to sleep on the podcast.
Yeah.
She really wants to sleep.
He's preparing for yawning.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Just so we can take
I
it
think
for a
that's a
moment.
good way to end my hot take. And now for the hot take that everyone's been waiting for, Mr. Batter. Would you like to share yours?
Everyone. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So my hot take is about who do you idolize or take as a role model? Role model. And people these days look for athletes or actors or something like that to idolize them and want to walk in their footsteps instead of looking at scientists or people that are actually uh, doing the good things. So they're choosing to idolize entertainment over everything else.
Mhm.
What do you guys think?
I wholeheartedly agree. I'm not sure about Sneha or Swata, but
I
Yeah,
definitely agree
immediate
too.
thoughts. I agree.
who do you idolize, Mr. Batter?
I think this is a really good
Me,
one.
my uncle and my dad.
Okay.
Hmm.
Those are two good choices. Yeah, I feel like idolizing parents, especially if they raise you well, is a really good thing to do. Yeah, and yeah, I feel like nowadays parents are underappreciated for the amount of work that they do in raising children and all of that. So yeah, I'm glad to see that people are still idolizing their parents. Like I do. I don't know. Do you guys idolize your parents? Yeah, so
Definitely.
Wait, like idolize respect or
yeah,
like
like respect. Like, do you like
yeah,
really respect your parents? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Like whether it's respect or taking footsteps, like being
Hmm.
what they were. Like the reason for my uncle was a civil engineer, and he was like a second dad to me. And I looked up to him a lot, and I saw in him a lot of what I wanted to be. So I followed his footsteps, and I became a civil engineer as well. My dad, I took everything that he taught me, and I am applying it in my life, like as I go. So that's why I I felt like what my dad was doing was worthy of being followed, and that's what
Mhm.
I'm talking about idolizing or taking as a role model. Follow the steps instead of
That's
looking
true.
at like one of the actors of a singer and be like, oh my God, I want to be like him or I want to be like her. And in their fact, like they're most of them, not all of them, are people who couldn't do anything else in life.
Yeah.
Like they did the only thing that they can, and I mean they're lucky enough to have like the wealth that come from it. But
Hmm.
that's that should not be a reason for you to idolize someone just because they make you laugh or they make you feel something as you're watching them. That's not a reason. It should be built on like based on character.
Yeah. No, I agree. uh, feel like for a lot of celebrities that people idolize, they are idolizing their money and their fame. They're not idolizing the person themselves. There are a few celebrities that I look up to, but that's because like for one of them is he's Conan O'Brien. I'm not sure if you guys heard of him, but
Yeah,
in
I know.
addition to being a great performer, he's a really good person. He supports the people around him. He's like the way he goes through hardship and the way he gives advice, it's really endearing. And yeah, I think those are the type of celebrities that are really good to have as idols and to follow in their footsteps for. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. If they have like a good message, if they're like
Yes.
on a personal level, they are not just like an actor or a comedian or this or that.
Hmm.
Then yeah, maybe you can say that. But most of them are not like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like we had in Egypt like a singer, it was like in the 70s, 60s, 80s. I don't remember what decade, but he passed away, right? And he
Hmm.
was so popular that a lot of the fans uh, took their own lives because
Wow.
he passed away. Like they started
Hmm.
jumping off buildings and this and that. Like why? Like really? For what?
Yeah. It's a waste.
Hmm.
It's just
Yeah.
I can never like wrap my head around that.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think the term idolize in itself, like in a lot of contexts, should be taken negatively because like you're putting someone on a pedestal and like you're widening the gap between you two and like viewing them as like otherworldly or like godlike almost. And I think we should just do that less. Like there's a difference between like idolizing someone and like respecting someone for their accomplishments, I think. Um but yeah, for me, I think the people I tend to idolize are also, or like respect a lot, are people who are like self-made. And sometimes those tend to be like artists or like people that are really famous in the media, but also sometimes those are like my relatives or like entrepreneurs or stuff like that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think anybody is deserving to be idolized, but I think a lot of people are deserving of like being looked up to, right? In the sense of
Mhm.
like, hey, here I am right now, and they're able to accomplish these many things. I want to have the determination. I want to have the kindness. I want to have the courage that this person has, right? I think that's very different than trying to, seeing them as this otherworldly being. Yeah.
Yeah, and when I said idolize, I did not mean it in that sense that there are,
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, like,
Yes. No,
and
like
I'm
I,
sure
I think
when they made America,
yes, like
oh,
we're saying that we agree with it. We shouldn't idolize, but and at the same time we're saying that because we shouldn't idolize, we should still look up to people, but not go to that level. Yes.
Yeah. Like I think in the context of like artists or like celebrities, like the idolatry can be like really toxic, like how I mentioned, but in other contexts, like without all those like that value of like appearance or money, or just like luxury, in other contexts, like idolizing or like respecting is good.
Hmm. What do
I
you think,
guess I
Swara?
would add, like, just I agree with everything you guys have said, and kind of like building on what Sneha just said, and then also like the point Mr. Batter brought up, like how people just like tend to idolize people like in entertainment or like those kinds of like industries and stuff in terms of like famous people. Um, because like I guess that's just what we get more exposed to, as opposed to like science. Like I think we should like be like focus more like idolizing people outside of that, like scientists and like other people who have like made great achievements like that. Because like when it comes to like entertainment and stuff and like idolizing people in like that in that world, people tend to idolize them for the wrong reasons, or they like idolize them for stuff that's like they shouldn't be idolized for. Like they it's like they do the most basic stuff and then people will start idolizing them for that. And then so then that kind of like that sets a bad precedent for them because they're idolizing for the wrong reasons, or they're doing it like in a way that they shouldn't. So it really should just be more focused on like people that like actually worked hard. They deserve what they did and stuff. And they're like kind of like that idea of like being self-made, and just like it comes down to your character and like idolizing those kinds of people, especially those that are like closer to you, those you know like personally. Because like if you're idolizing someone you see on the internet that you don't really know, you're probably going to find out a lot about them at some point that like you can't really idolize them for anymore, because like that persona you had, like that idea you had of them, is like kind of manufactured, as opposed to like someone close to you that you would idolize. You know, at least you like know them, you know more about their character, so then they're actually worth idolizing. And like, I keep like using like we talked about like how like that terminology can be a bit iffy, but just like in terms of people you look up to, people you want to follow in their footsteps and stuff. Um,
Would you agree with the saying that you should never meet like your heroes?
No, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I would also say I disagree.
Okay.
I
To
think
meet
I
your
would.
heroes.
I think I would agree.
I think if you create an image of your hero in your mind that may not be true, or they may not live up to that image, I feel like that's putting an unnecessary burden on whoever you're idolizing or making out to be a hero to be perfect. I think it's always good to meet whoever you take inspiration from and notice like they're human too. Um,
And
yeah.
also, your suggestion is that I don't meet my uncle and my dad. So that's kind of a little bit
That's why it's a
harsh.
suggestion, Mr. Batter. Okay, come on.
Yeah.
That's a
No,
good
I
point.
don't. I don't think that they like if you don't know them, they should be your hero. Because
Mhm,
if you don't know them, then why are they your hero? Is
mhm.
it because of the facade that you see from them? You don't really know them, so how can they be your hero?
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay, I agree with that. I guess like okay, I agree and disagree. I think like in the sense of like heroes you actually know, those like kind of the people you know that you look up to and stuff, then yeah, that's fine. But in terms of like I think I meant more in the sense of like idolizing like celebrities and like people you don't know and stuff. I think you should meet them. However, most people can't handle that. So then that's why technically you really shouldn't, because you're just gonna like burst the bubble you have, that like idea you have of them is just not going to match, and people probably most people can't handle that.
So they're not going to be their heroes anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Have you guys ever met like? I mean, aside from your relatives, of course. Like, have you guys met people that you looked up to?
Not really.
No, no.
not really.
Have you?
Yeah, I have. Okay, in the sense of like, so there's these performers, right? There's like they're my favorite artists, right? And they do jam and like improvising and stuff like that. I was not only able to meet with them, but I was able to perform with them like on stage, and they gave me props and stuff afterwards, and like they were really nice people, and that this only raised my image of them. So yeah,
That's good.
yes, yeah.
Okay. I guess my final thought on this is like, do not idolize people that you or take them as role model if you don't know them, and
Mhm.
if they are in the entertainment industry or sports or that, just like them, love them, but don't say like I want to be like them because you don't really know them.
Yeah, Yes.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. More than that, like even if they're the person that they're saying they are, like you're your own person. Trying to be exactly like somebody else, like what good is that going to do for the world? So like being inspired by someone, but trying to do it in your own way and trying to, make yourself stand out I think that's also really important. I think that's also the problem of like really idolizing somebody. Yeah. So my final thoughts are it's good to look up to people and be inspired by people, but it's up to you to really try to see what impact, what changes you want to make, and who you want to be. Yeah. What about you, Sneha?
Final thoughts. Agreed. I think, like, to some extent, you can have a level of respect for, like, famous people, but, like, everyone has been saying, like, don't take that to an extreme extent. And also, like, don't put them on a pedestal. Don't be afraid to meet them, I guess, and, like, kind of know them for who they truly are.
Yeah. Swati, did you see your final thoughts already? Or
Well, it's essentially just like agree. I guess one thing I would want to add is that okay, even if you're like if you look up to people beyond like celebrities like in the entertainment, sports, like whatever in those industries too, just like anyone you look up to that you don't really know, take it with like a great like keep some kind of like skepticism about them because there's probably like a side of them that you wouldn't idolize. So just like, be aware that like people aren't what they seem and they could like be like the complete opposite of what you think they are. So just like be aware of that too. So like it's not
yeah,
worth like fully idolizing anyone really.
yeah, I agree. Yeah. And with that, I think that wraps up our final hot take. Okay. All right. Yes. Again, thank you so much, Mr. Batter, for showing up to this podcast and, filling an episode with us. We are honored and we are flattered that you would take
Yeah, we
time out of your
really
day to do
appreciate
this for us. Yeah. This was a really nice episode. And yeah, yeah.
Thank
We're
you for
definitely
having
gonna
me.
Thank
enjoy this
you.
one, I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
Thank you so much for having me. I think what
of
you're doing
course.
is great and it's worth doing. And I liked it very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
All right.
Thank
We hope you have a
you.
great rest of your summer, Mr. Batter. Okay? Keep in
Thank you,
touch.
you too. And
Yes.
you guys, I hope you get ready for college and it will be a good experience for you,
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
We'll
Thank
try our
you.
of
best.
course.
Try our best. Yeah. Okay.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye
Bye,
bye.
listeners.
Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.